तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनम् कविभिरीडितम् कल्मषापहम् श्रवणमङ्गलम् श्रीमदाततम् भुवि गृह्णन्ति भूरिदा जनाः भुवि गृह्णन्ति भूरिदा जनाः. Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Having spoken to Vidyasagar in detail the whole of spiritual world, he has presented to him the entire map from the early stages of sadhaka to the ultimate realization. He has shown, he has given a mandate how to go about, how to reach, and he has pointed out to the inner content where you can find things within you, where is the treasure, where are the instruments to reach, where are the vehicles, how will you drive, how will you reach. The entire thing he presented. Now Sri Ramakrishna is back in Dakshineshwar again. The next chapter begins with a new awareness for us. The Gospel is beginning with advice to householders. One is realization, the other is path. The third one is our duties of life. I have to reach, but I have another part of my life. I have to remain in this world. I can't remain alone. Man, by nature, is in group living. He feels isolated if he is separated from the company in which he lives. Gregarian tendencies to live in groups. So, he has to live in group, he has to live in society. And to live in society is absolutely necessary for all his needs. He cannot manage himself. He needs a piece of cloth. He cannot grow cotton, make threads, weave and make a cloth. And he cannot plow, grow the crops, take out the food. He cannot prepare medicines when he is sick. He cannot produce oil. He cannot do many things which he is doing. Small contribution of his part to the society he can give. Suppose he is a farmer, he will grow. If he is a blacksmith, he will do some service of blacksmith to the world. And what he needs, all the other needs of his life, to sustain life and to live in the society, what all he needs will be supplied by others. It's an exchange. So, this part of life is there. How to live in the world and attain the ultimate goal of life. Two aspects. With Vidyasagar, he showed the entire map, how to go, how to reach, what are the states, what are the things to be attained. He is coming here in the next chapter, how advice to householders and telling how to live in the world. This is what the incarnations show through their own life and also through their teachings. They give you see, in the whole of the world, these two scriptures, the Bhagavad Gita and Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, they are exclusively meant for living in this world and transcending the nature and going beyond. All others, including Vedas, will give you in the beginning what desire you have, how will you attain. When you are exhausted in life, what will you do? And what is God and other things. But how to live in this world unstained by the world and activities, without being caught in the karmic cycle, how to live in this world, untouched by the world, like the lotus in a pond, untouched by water, even if water falls on it. Like pearls, they flow away without wetting it. Like that, you have to live in the world. So Sri Ramakrishna is telling, here is coming to the other part of life, that is life in the world. How will you live in this world? Advice, chapter 4, advice to the householders. August 13, 1882. The master was conversing with Kedar and some other devotees in his room in the temple garden. Kedar was a government official and had spent several years at Dhaka in East Bengal, where he had become a friend of Vijay Goswami. The two would spend a great part of their time together talking about Sri Ramakrishna and his spiritual experiences. Kedar had once been a member of the Brahmo Samaj. He followed the path of bhakti. Spiritual talk always brought tears to his eyes. This is the introduction of Kedar. Kedar, one of the important devotees, householder devotees of Sri Ramakrishna, we come across while going through the life and teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. Now, Kedar used to live sometime for a long time, perhaps, in East Bengal, Dhaka. And there, Vijay Krishna Goswami also used to stay, and they became friends, and both were devotees and disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And each had the same nature, that is, the bhakti, the devotion, the devotional aspect of life. Now, how God brings people of same nature together. It's a beautiful thing that the birds of same feather live together. It is nature's plan also. So we see the two bhaktas exchanging, just like thieves join together, engineers join together, and they live exchanging their views and thoughts. So also here we see a rare thing in the life of Kedar. Life of Kedar, we see a new thing, that how God brings people of the same nature together so that they fast move Just what is required is devotion to God. If you have any path you go, any profession or any way you live, good life or bad life, you will have a friend to move with you in that direction. That is selected by not only nature, but your own nature. Your own nature selects. You have a particular tendency in the world, then the nature also, your own nature selects a person who is of your nature. Just like when we go to school, we have a friend who matches with our life. So, similarly, here, when the devotion and realization to God, realization of God comes as an ideal in your life, you think, in the not clear terms as a awakening of the sadhakatva. When the sadhakatva awakens, the spiritual aspirancy awakens, he is an entirely different person. He is like a fire, intensely longing for God. But normal, oh, what is this world? I have to attain something beyond. I have to go, I have to reach some state of stability in this world. How will I transcend all my defects within me? This general understanding of life and aspiring for higher life, like a common just incoming sadhaka, that much the day when you decide, I must realize God, I must go beyond all these limitations, I must have eternal peace. The day you think, you enter into a different realm governed by a different forces. From avidya maya, you are entering into the jurisdiction of vidya maya. Now you are governed by different forces, different life, different nature. Now your nature becomes secondary. The nature that pervades the whole universe and governs. All sadhakas come under that power which we call Vidya Maya. Now these two friends to come together and live together is not their choice. It is if they are part of the divine Leela, when God incarnates, He plays a divine Leela. If they are Leela Sahacharas, a part of the Leela, then God selects their being together. If they are aspirants aspiring for realization of God, then Vidya Maya, the nature external, governs your life. The two are brought together either by the divine as a part of the Leela or by the Divine Mother as Vidya Maya to help them advance in the spiritual life. She brings together. Now they have become friends. What are they doing? They are aspiring for a higher life on one side. Another is they have come under the influence of Sri Ramakrishna. They speak together about Ramakrishna. What all happened day to day as if they are collecting. Imagine, see if they were there presently and Thakur was there, how the information every moment, what is happening in Dakshineshwar would have reached them there in Dhaka. In those days, we were deprived of the vision of the rishis sitting in the cave with closed eyes. They can see the world, what is happening where, who is coming and who is going. That vision also we have lost. And the modern science that can transmit any information to any corner of the world, that also had not come into existence. It was still in the womb of the future. So whatever they had seen, whatever they had heard, whatever in those days newspaper and all could publish, a little here there, with even one visit to Sri Ramakrishna was enough. That person is totally pervaded and totally transformed from within, and his thought would be day and night of the divine, of Sri Ramakrishna. Go on speaking about them. Means how much of influence he must have. Suppose I have a friend. How far he is able to influence me? Now, when I go to office, my colleagues, we talk to each other, they influence me, I influence them, exchange is there. But to the mental level, suppose we are doing some research, we are entering into some higher field of activity, something designing, something new to project to be taken up. We become friends and we influence each other's intellect. At intellectual level we are exchanging and we are in. Otherwise, suppose we are music lovers, then we will be speaking about this program, that program, here, this happened, that happened, and we will be exchanging in talk level, thoughts exchange. He has influenced particular aspect of mine. But when I start loving someone, he has reached the depths of my being, beyond bodily level, beyond my thought level, beyond my intellectual level, to my emotional level. And when saints meet, or an incarnation of God, when a saint meets, he goes still deeper to my existential level. There is a transformation of the entire base of the personality. So as if he is molding into new. My understanding, my vision of the world, my understanding about myself, my understanding about God, everything starts changing if I meet a saint. And when the incarnations are met, when a person meets an incarnation of God, what would happen? His existence that has come from the past, from the source, and is moving towards the source, whole trajectory, whole thing is transformed. The life that you have spent in this world, all the years, so many lives you have spent, you will see in the golden letters. The life that you are going to spend in future till you reach the perfection, it will be again golden letters. The one who is awakened from within, he sees others yet to awaken, has to wait to understand what is their life, what transformation has taken place within. Many times we see Sri Ramakrishna identifying such and such person was with the incarnation. Now, Balram Bose, I think, he says, you were with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he doesn't know. Rakhal Maharaj, that is Brahmanandaji, he was a playmate of Krishna. When he remembers who he was, his body will not continue, he says. So they were protecting Brahmanandaji, Rakhal Maharaj, not to think or come in contact with the awareness of Krishna's existence of play. He was a playmate. Suddenly, and his life ending also, you see in the same way. Somebody starts singing a song in which is reminding him to be the Rakhar, the playmate of Krishna, and there its life ends. So we see when might have passed, we might have undergone tremendous transformation within, we might have become gold, but mind doesn't have the capacity to turn inward and see. When mind becomes still, it shines from within. To silence, mind is always curious, supported by intellect to search and know. It wants to know, mind wants to know. No, mind cannot know. Now, suppose tongue wants to see, or ear wants to see, or eye want to hear. You can't. It is not its purpose. It is not designed for it. Ear is not designed to see. Ear is designed to hear. Eye is designed to see. Eye is not designed to hear. If they want to exchange, they can't. Mind is designed to understand the world outside of time and space. It is not designed to know. When it becomes silence, when the mind becomes still, the inner stillness when we reach, you see, it is shining by itself. Mind was covering that knowledge. Mind was covering, and a day comes when the mind becomes silent. Yoga Sutra. First sutra, it's a Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. The cessation of the meditations of the mind when the inner reality shines forth. So this transformation, they have met Sri Ramakrishna. They have undergone such a transformation that it is beyond words. Now we are coming in contact with Sri Ramakrishna through the gospel, through his life, through the reports that we have received from the direct disciples and others who lived were the complex, same time, living people, contemporary people who could explain to us, give us the first-hand information. That with that, Sri Ramakrishna has entered our heart. But we are not yet able to recognize his presence within us. So when we recognize his presence within us, we will recognize the transformation which we have undergone also. We have come to the feet of Sri Ramakrishna. What more do we need? As if our realization, our transcendence of nature, our entering into the eternal life is as if it is reserved and we are just waiting for the time to come into force. So, this is what is happening to Kedar and Vijay Krishna Goswami. That Kedar is in presence of Sri Ramakrishna. Imagine they're sitting in Dhaka and talking to each other, and they happen to come to Sri Ramakrishna and be at his direct presence, about whom they were thinking all the time, longing to meet, longing to hear his words, are in his presence. So the two would spend great part of their time together, talking about Sri Ram, great part of their time. How do we spend our great part of the time? Do we spend out of 24 hours, how many hours do we spend in work? Working, how much time do we spend? The rest of the time, what are we doing? Thinking of the things we have done or we have to achieve. And wasting the time on unnecessary thinkings. If we save every moment and be conscious of the Lord, what would happen? Small things, we start passing events of life. We are giving our life, thinking about it, contemplating on that. Instead, just to do your duties by holding on to God, offer it to His feet, keep moving, fully aware of its transcendence. It is transitory, it's moving, it's going away. And hold on to. The rest will be taken care by the Lord. Great part of their time together talking about Sri Ramakrishna and his spiritual experiences. All his spiritual experiences is not for his attainments or anything. The possibility of attaining. What are the things to be attained and how it is attained. All this to show to man the path to reach that. And he is present. These, he realized in this way, his experiences were that. An inspiration for us, a possibility, and a wide range, whole spectrum is given to you to contemplate upon. What is God? Your understanding of God goes on clearing day by day. Each experience of Sri Ramakrishna, when you analyze, as Rama, as Krishna, as Hanuman, as Sita, all these personal aspects in the Advaitic form of non-dual and various ways of tasting God's love, loving God in various ways. All these, when you see your understanding of God, what is this God? A different understanding of God from the limited understanding that I am loving God in this form. So, we will be moving towards reality, our existence, our understanding, everything blooms forth. This blooming takes place by analyzing the life of the saint, his experiences, his teachings. Before we absorb the teachings and we follow, we analyze. This analyzing the life and teachings, their experiences of life. Why do we need the experiences of life of a saint? Is to make ourselves fit to receive his teachings, to become the Yogya Patra, to have the dharana of what Master teaches. To that part the Lord is giving us, the Mother Nature is providing, the Vidyamaya is giving that understanding, how to spend the time, what to talk about, what she is instigating, inspiring from within. We call it prerana. Without divine prerana, the intuition, divine intuition from within, man won't be able to think of God also. So if he thinks of God, there is already grace fallen on him. So they are speaking about them and trying to understand. Sri Ramakrishna is the ultimate goal of all our lives. In various forms, in various ways, we reach him. And we see whether it is Rama or Christ or this or that, it's all one. Different manifestations of the same reality. So if we love Sri Ramakrishna, you are loving all gods and goddesses, all aspects of divine manifestations. Why do we need Sri Ramakrishna more in this hour of the world? There is a strong wave of materialism that is flowing, which is to be counteracted by the wave of spirituality. And the spirituality we find in Sri Ramakrishna, one wave of the Materialism is going, the other wave is coming. We'll continue. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.